Cardinals are going to be in first place after today.
They are
4-4. They're 2-0 in the division, most importantly, and the favorable part of their schedule is upcoming. I think at the very worst, this team should be sitting at the bye at 5-5. I do think they're going to be favored now in each of their next 2 games. Jets are big time frauds. They could be sellers. They're 2-5 or 2-6 maybe.
They'll never sell.
Well, yeah,
they never will.
That's fine.
Somebody needs to have an intervention with them and just tell them they're going nowhere. But yeah, they're just going to double, triple, quadruple down. They fired their coach, and then they make the trade for Adams, and then they somehow they get Hassan Reddick to come back. It's just not going to happen for him. So they're probably not going to sell, but we'll see. I mean, it's something that Monty Ossenfort, who is our friend Lena Washington at 12 News, put out a great tweet of Monty Ossenfort greeting and fired up to see his team coming back in the tunnel. It's like, okay, your team's done the work now, Monty. They have proven through this gauntlet of an opening schedule that they're going to be in the mix regardless. Now go get them some help.
Yeah,
I'm not saying go get Myles Garrett.
No, he's not. Those kind of players aren't available. I don't think the Cardinals, that fits their timeline. Their timeline is to win the NFC West this year, and I'm going to be negative for just this small portion of the show. If the Cardinals had lost that game today, it would have been on their general manager. 11 for 15 was this third down defense. And again, like I almost want to say, like through no fault of their own. Like I get it, they were players, they're NFL players that are out there competing. I mean, Ben Stilley, Naquan Jones, Dante Stills, Zaven Collins, Victor Dumakagi off the practice squad, and inactives galore are thrust into this lineup. I think the Cards' back 7 is more than fine. I think Taylor Demerson looks like he deserves some time. We talked about the safeties played well, Buddha especially. I thought the corners played better as the game went on. And then certainly you've got 2 stud linebackers in Kazir White and Mack Wilson. Like I think to put yourself in a position to compete for this division, not only now but through the end of the year, because they've got a long way to go, you need 2 additions before the deadline. You're going to get Darius Robinson back next week. He was in street clothes today.
We'll see.
But we hope. We're hopeful, right? Yeah. He's back around the team now.
He's be back on the practice field this week.
I was willing to give Monty a pass for the first half of the season. We've talked about this a lot. I know you don't like this opinion, but I like the idea of players proving that they deserve an addition to the roster. I really like that idea. Go out and show it to me.
Yeah.
Prove it to me. But now this team is 4-4. Like this was pretty much the best case scenario we painted when we looked at the first half of the schedule.
100%.
We were saying 3-5, they're still in it, but 4-4, that really puts you in the mix. You've got a terrible Bears offense coming to town next week. You could be 5-4 right before the trade deadline. They've earned it. How can you not say that they've earned it when you look at all the losses this team has sustained via injury, and yet they're still at 500 with a chance to win this division? I agree with you now. Monty's got to go make moves.
Not only are they 4-4, they're 2-0 in the NFC West, which is fantastic because we know the Rams are getting better. You have a win over them. Who knows with San Francisco? Hopefully they take an L to the Cowboys tonight. But, like, those teams don't typically quit in the second half. Like, I assume Seattle's going to fall off. They were the biggest fraud in the NFL when they were, 3-0, 4-0. Like, everybody saw that coming. Similar like the Saints' fast start, maybe Chicago's. Like, this all ends up evening out. Whereas, like, not only reward your players, reward your head coach. Your head coach who has gone through the gauntlet here, who has beaten Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, and has put this defense in a position where they are believers. They're just very talentless, limited in talent, I should say, with all due respect. Like these guys, I'm sure coming into this year did not expect to be starting right now. You need help. You need supplemental help. And it's not going to be guys that are going to break the bank in terms of draft capital. Like you're going to go out, you're going to spend a late day 3 pick. And you should not, and we know this, we talk about this regularly, but like you cannot take division titles for granted for this franchise. It means more for this team. It's not a Kansas City. It's not a Baltimore where you're just checking a box. Those things are assumed. If by hook or by crook they can compete and potentially win this division, it would do so much for the confidence beyond just, you're making the playoffs. The momentum for these young players who will be able to experience that, right? Where you had no aspirations nationally. Nobody thought this team was going to contend. The postseason odds before this game for the Cardinals, I think, were plus 225. I would imagine now they're sub 200.
Yeah, you'd love to see it. It was like a 30% chance that they can make the postseason. That's going to creep up closer and closer to 500. And like the back end of this defense, I think, is good enough.
Yes.
You have to do some work on the defensive front seven. Buda Baker, 12 combined tackles. Jalen Thompson, 11 today. Melton was solid. I thought just their secondary gave you everything they had. There were a couple quick passes that they were caught on third down on. But if you can find a way to create players or personnel that can create and be a little bit more disruptive up front, you just be doing them so much better going forward against the stretch run once you get out of the bye week. Like if you get Darius, if you get maybe two guys, whether it's interior or
do you
off
real
the
quick?
edge,
do you think it would be Darius and then an edge? It's got to be probably an edge rusher.
Got to get. I think you have to get an edge. Yep. I think you do. Get an outside linebacker, and we're seeing it's not costing you a lot of money. Like Monty Ossenfort doesn't have to take all his picks and say, "Oh, you're not going to have any." It's not going to be a premium pick. Like you're going to still be able to focus on building for the future and being a draft and develop team. But like what we saw, DeAndre Hopkins at best is going to fetch a 4th round pick. That's a day 3 pick.
D-Hop.
There are impact makers that can be had for day 3 picks. For guys that we've seen in a John Gaines, guys that aren't making an impact on this roster.
GM's overvalued.
Yeah, don't overvalue them. Don't put them on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. Go out there.
It is so clearly a need, folks. Like they had 1 sack and it was off the fumble.
And they
recovery.
reported today Zadarius Smith. If you can get Zadarius Smith for a 4th or 5th round pick, I think that's easy. You pull the trigger on that deal.
Josh Uche was inactive for the New England Patriots. Now they won today. Healthy scratch. The production's not there, so you'd be probably hesitant to make that kind of deal. But I think anything, Craig, is better than nothing at this point.
As long as we've moved into this alternate reality that we're in right now.
No, this is real life. We're living real life right now.
Is it?
Pinch me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Testing. Envision this. They got the Bears. They got the Jets. We think those are both winnable games, right?
Yes.
So you could be coming out of the bye week at 6-4, going to Seattle with a chance to seize control of this division.
Yeah.
There's no way we were talking about this a few weeks ago, but that's the reality now. It's just amazing to me that we're in this position.
And we'll see what happens with San Francisco.
Right.
The Rams, they were brought back to life this week. I know you buried them a long time ago.
That wasn't me. I didn't do that.
The receipts are not going to age well on that, but they got Puka back. They got Cooper back. Matthew Stafford looked great.
Let them go and beat all the teams the Cardinals need them to beat.
Sure.
Let them go beat San Francisco.
But they're not going anywhere. They're Mike Myers. They're not coming. They're not going anywhere. You can't kill them until potentially week 17 when you face them.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals, they just need to take care of business against. There's no reason that they couldn't be a playoff team, and so could the Cardinals. And we were sitting here, we're talking about the NFC West, and that should be the goal. But there's a clear path now at 4-4 to 9 to 10 wins, which more often than not is going to get you into the postseason in the NFC with 3 wild card spots. All the teams that are tearing it up in the NFC North are going to eat each other. We've seen some of them are fraudulent. I think the same can be said for the NFC South now. Tampa Bay's losing a bunch of players. Of course, the Saints are terrible now. I think that there's a real possibility that 2 teams come out of the NFC West and 2 teams come out of the NFC North. I think that that's probably what ends up happening.
We all silly like the mayor.